Sean Manaea has had a promising start to his big league career. The tall left-hander has shown signs that he belongs in the Athletics rotation. But at times he has also struggled, which is all too familiar for a rookie facing major league talent. Tonight, Manaea and the A's return home to face the Detroit Tigers. Led by Miguel Cabrera, the Tigers are playing some good baseball. Their veteran roster is always tough. They're starting to make some noise in the AL Central. It's holiday weekend baseball in the East Bay. Sean Manaea tries to tame the Tigers. Game 1 of 3. It starts right now. Well, after an off day yesterday, the A's are back to work tonight at the Coliseum with the big fella Miguel Cabrera and the Detroit Tigers in town. It's the first of a 3-game series. The A's will send the rookie left-hander Sean Manaea to the mound. So it's the Oakland A's hosting the Detroit Tigers tonight right here on CSN California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Sean Manaea will make his 6th start tonight. And Ray, with Manaea, you can see where the A's are excited. Right. The stuff is there, but you can also see in his first 5 starts where he's struggling, and he has not had a lot of pitching in the high levels of the minor leagues. You can see the inconsistency as well.
You know, you look at his last start against the Yankees here, and he's pitched better at the Coliseum than he has on the road, as the numbers would indicate, but he retired the first 9 batters. And what he has to really look at is the possibility of those hitters talking about what he's doing. The Yankees did that, and he had a tough 4th inning. But he has a changeup that he's changed the grips. He's pitching much better with the changeup, trying to sneak his fastball. But this is a challenge tonight because there's a lot of great right-handed hitters in this lineup of the Tigers.
Tigers have a rookie taking the mound as well. His name is Michael Fulmer. He came over from the Mets in the Cespedes trade, and he's coming off the best start of his career.
Well, you look at his numbers in his last start against the Rays. 11 strikeouts. He's got a good fastball, mid to upper 90s, good breaking pitch and a changeup, but he looks like he just likes to rear back and throw hard, which he's doing right there to get the 11 strikeouts. So the A's seeing Fulmer for the first time, and the Tigers seeing Sean Manaea for the first time. Should be interesting for these young pitchers.
And it is the start of a 6-game homestand for the Athletics, so they will try to get rolling in front of the home fans here at the Coliseum. Stick around, we'll have lineups at first pitch. When we come back, it's the Oakland A's and the Detroit Tigers coming up.
California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the Baconlicious Sourdough Bacon Ranch Combo, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
He's back home, and they take the field, getting set for the first of this three-game series against the Detroit Tigers. Game time weather for tonight, presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 65 degrees tonight here at the Coliseum, with day baseball coming up tomorrow, Sunday, and then Monday.
Yeah. So only just tonight and Tuesday, and that's it. Otherwise, all day games for this homestand. That's pretty nice.
So let's look at the lineup for the Detroit Tigers tonight. Lots of familiar names. It starts with Ian Kinsler, then J.D. Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Nick Castellanos. Look at those batting averages by those three guys. Upton, Cameron Maybin is back in the lineup. James McCann is your catcher. Jose Iglesias is the shortstop.
And get the pitch that's going to get right-handers out, because there's a whole bunch of them in there. Sean Manaea has a changeup that he can use that effectively. And in fact, he did it against the Rangers in his first major league win. 6 2/3 innings, just one run. So Sean Manaea facing the Tigers for the first time, and hopefully he does as well as he did his last start, especially the first 9 batters. Retired all 9 against the Yankees.
Chris Burns and Coughlin in the outfield. Valencia, Simeon, Lowry, and Alonso on the infield. And Stephen Vogt does the catching. So we're set for baseball on a Friday night here in Oakland. Off day yesterday for the A's, and off day at home, which is nice for everybody. Don't get a whole lot of those during the season. So I'm sure the players were able to relax. But back to work tonight as Manaea kicks and deals the first pitch of the game, and it's a fastball high to Ian Kinsler.
Cap, I want you to take note of Dave Clark down at third base, the coach, and where he is now, where he's going to be. It's amazing.
That's true.
We saw him in Detroit. He was halfway to home plate. Right now,
that one is driven towards center. Burns going back. Burns dives, and he caught it. What a way to start.
Wow. Oh.
Sensational play by Billy Burns to open up the ball game.
And this is at least a triple, because there's nobody to back up to center fielder. Billy went after, watch this, leave his feet and just headlong dive before he reached the warning track. Came down with it, airborne. Horizontal to the ground. What a great play by Billy Burns. And like I said, at least a triple for the speed of Ian Kinsler. Instead, a nice applause from his pitcher, Sean Manaea, on a great play by Billy Burns.
So one out for J.D. Martinez. Worth another look.
Well, you see a lot of guys will catch the ball, then dive. Billy Burns actually left his feet airborne and came up with a great play to rob Ian Kinsler.
Exmo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I had the shot of Kinsler in the dugout, and somebody was asking him. He just saw 2 pitches, but probably already asking him because the Tigers have not seen Manaea.
Well, there'll be a lot of talking in the dugout, especially early in the game.
I think if nothing else for Sean Manaea, his last start against the Yankees here, and as we mentioned, he retired the first 9, but then in the 4th inning he gave it up, and maybe he learned from that experience, because he's facing the team for the first time again tonight. Great breaking ball there.
So he gets J.D. Martinez for the second out.
Back foot slider, and a good pitch, a pitch that he did not throw a lot and has not thrown. It's mostly fastball changeups, but this slider, J.D. Martinez, back foot, and that's a good pitch to throw to anybody except maybe the guy at the plate right now.
Joe West is calling balls and strikes. Andy Fletcher, Ramon DeJesus, and Kerwin Danley. The rest of the group, and Joe West is the crew chief. Here's Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera's number solid as always, hitting .322 with 11 homers, 31 RBIs. His batting average of .322, 7th in the league.
So when they talk about hitters, like swing and miss stuff, he never has a swing that he misses. I don't think. He makes contact most times, and when he does swing the bat, a great eye, and he will use the whole field, and as a result, they're playing him pretty much straight up.
So he had a good batting practice session today.
Oh gosh, those poor people in the suites. They were living dangerously out there, but he uses the whole field. In fact, when we were in Detroit, we talked about that and how his hips, he said, he's opening up too much. You watch his hips, and that's just straight up right there, because Miguel Cabrera will use the whole field. But he worked on his hips going towards the pitcher, and what did he do? Home run to right field, his first at bat. I've never seen a power hitter hit as many opposite field home runs as Miguel Cabrera has.
And he hits this one high in the air, left center. In the ballpark for Burns. He's got it. Side retired. A 3-up, 3-down inning for Sean Manaea with a little help from Billy Burns. Terrific catch to open up the ball game. The first inning. Let's look at the lineup for the Athletics. Chris Burns, Vogt, Valencia, Lowry, Davis, Alonso, Simeon, and Coughlin.
And Michael Fulmer, a young man, as we'll be seeing for the first time, as we showed in our open, a good fastball, live fastball, making his 6th start. He was at Toledo, made 3 starts for the Toledo Mud Hens, a affiliate, AAA of the Tigers, close to Detroit, but good fastball, mid-90s slider, and a changeup. And Chris will start out and see what he can do. Billy Burns following him, so it should be a good matchup for both pitchers tonight. Herky jerky, funky movement. Yeah.
So the A's they'll do a lot of talking in their dugout as well. Watching Michael Fulmer for the first time. 94 miles an hour. Coco at 250 with 4 home runs and 18 RBIs. Big day tomorrow for Josh Reddick, the bobblehead.
The spinning action, bobblehead, Josh Reddick.
So 3-0 to Coco Chris with Burns in the on-deck circle. That one right in there for a strike.
Your Drummers had the day off yesterday, and they're back strong. And last Sunday
started early.
Sunday was their last really big effort, and kind of teetering a little bit. But they're back strong tonight. They had some rest. They're letting it go. Notice? No, you would notice.
Oh yeah, I noticed. Iglesias straddling the foul line makes the catch. So Coco's retired. Let's look at the lineup, or look at the defense for the Tigers. Upton, Maben, and Martinez in the outfield. Castellanos, Iglesias, Kinsler, Cabrera in the infield. James McCann is the catcher. That's the A lineup, and they're going to run that lineup out there live. Gene Lamont is serving as the manager tonight. Brad Ausmus is back home, right?
Yes, his daughter's graduating tonight, and he's scheduled to be back tomorrow.
Unfortunately, Brad Osma's mother passed away midweek, so Gene Lamont managed that game as well. So Brad Osmus, who, Gene said, there was another one that he had got suspended. I said, you remember when that's when he laid his jacket on the home plate.
That was a good one, though.
Yeah, it was a good one. The mild-mannered Brad Osmus, and
just foul. So 0-2 the count to Burns, hitting .271 with 4 RBIs. 4 for 13 in that series in Seattle. And he's got a little 6-game hitting streak going. 8 hits and 21 at-bats during that 6-game streak. 3.2 pitches per plate appearance, lowest in the American League.
And just think if he had not had the 14 pitch at bat against the Rays, what it would be.
That lifted up his average.
Yeah. I mean, of all people, that's what everybody was saying.
Castellanos was playing on the grass, and he fires to first, 2 out.
Time now for the Nissan keys to the game. It's a good one. Figure out Fulmer, and they're trying to do that. He started the first 3 pitches out of the strike zone, but we realized a pretty good fastball from the right-hander and the slider. Not seeing a changeup yet. And as far as returning the favor, yes, the A's lost 3 of 4 to the Tigers at Comerica Park, the only trip back to Detroit. And the A's hope they don't have to wait for Rich Hill to win again, which he did in Detroit. Went back to an area where he went to school and beat the Tigers, whereas his road record has been unbelievable. Rich Hill.
First pitch to Vogt on the outside corner for a strike. Vogt at .252 with 12 RBIs and 4 home runs. Gets that one hard with the shift on. Kinsler on the backhand. Plenty of time to throw out Vogt. And the side is retired. And actually, that was Castellanos, the third baseman, who made that play. We'll figure it out. The CSN All-Star Teacher Program, recognizing teachers that make a difference. Visit csncalifornia.com and vote. The winner receives $20,000 for his or her school. Top of the 2nd inning, no score. Victor Martinez, Nick Castellanos, and Justin Upton.
And it doesn't get any easier. No matter where you are in the lineup, you're facing a pretty good hitter.
Martinez has the 3rd best batting average in the American League at .338. 6 home runs and 27 RBIs.
And batting average at .338. It's always going to be high with Victor because he can hit. He's kind of like Miguel Cabrera. When he makes or swings the bat, he makes contact. And
he's striking out this year. 17 strikeouts and 12 walks in 160 at bats. So the answer is no.
As Miguel Cabrera said, whatever you do, just keep Victor Martinez hitting behind me. That is the ultimate protection. And we talked about it in Detroit. That tough to pitch carefully to Miguel Cabrera. You know he's a great hitter, but Victor Martinez is right there behind him.
And he's hitting .406 with runners in scoring position. So that's protection.
Absolutely. So Miggy knows he's going to get pitches to hit because Victor hitting in front of him or behind him.
2-2 now to Martinez. The Tigers are 23-23, but playing better lately.
That guy's playing a lot better.
Yeah,
Justin Upton.
Moving. Cameron Maben off the disabled list. He's had a nice start for them. We always say with the Tigers, there's a lot of talent. Shoots it foul, but the Tigers lately, they've won 4 out of their last 5, and they've won 8 out of their last 10. So they're only 3 back in that AL Central. The White Sox, after a hot start, they've kind of come back to the pack a little bit. So that is, outside of the Twins, it's a bunched up division in the early going. The Tigers are right there. Jam shot. Manaea's going to have to hustle to get over there. And he does, and he missed the bag. So Manaea got his feet caught up, and Alonso went a long ways to his right.
Well,
and maybe too far to his right.
Yeah, and Victor Martinez is not really fleet of foot, and there is behind him a little bit and just jabbing at the bag, and he got it.
I think he did get him.
Yes, he got it right at the back end, right there. He got it, but maybe too close. Maybe Victor, but he called him pulling off. But yes, he got it in the back part of the bag.
I think he got him.
He got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
He went back to touch it a second time,
Yeah.
and
they're not going to challenge it, I don't think. But that's. But the umpire, when he said off the bag, that is initially was off the bag, but the back foot got it again.
So Martinez gets a hit.
Yeah.
There's Castellanos, who's having a fine season.
Well, check the foot right there. See if Victor's foot is down first. Now his toe's on it.
So 1-0 to Castellanos. Swing and a miss, or foul it actually. 1-1. Castellanos 337. He's had a good start. Got 9 home runs and 31 runs batted in. That 337 average, 4th best in the American League. Alexander Bogaerts leads the league in hitting, followed by Bradley and then Victor Martinez and then Castellanos, and that hits the bag, and it's going to roll down the left field line. Victor Martinez stops at second base. So really a couple of breaks for the Tigers in the early going.
Castellanos just hitting the bag, and whether or not it looked like probably could have gotten behind the bag. Valencia looked like he was in place to get it, but Castellanos, good idea that he was watching Victor Martinez because he was halfway to second.
Yeah, he was thinking I'm going for 2, and Martinez had no intention of going to third.
Did that one time with Chuck Hinton. He was at first. I hit a ball in Memorial Stadium. I had my head down. I got into second. He called me out. He didn't leave second to go to third.
You were using your speed.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for 2, man, and I slid in and said, out. I said, what are you doing here? And he said,
did he say, hey, Ray, you're out?
Yeah, exactly.
Upton fouls it back. So 2 on and nobody out here in the second inning.
Now Dave Clark 5 is back down where he's going to have his back to the hitter halfway between the third base batter's box. There he is, third base coach.
So you saw Martinez running, so you know that there's not a lot of speed there. Swing and a miss. So it's 0-2.
Well, I want to go inside. That's a good idea. Stephen Vogt forced him to finish his pitch, and while it was not inside where he wanted it, at least it caught the plate, did not move off for the outside part of the plate.
Upton, of course, signing the big contract. A 6-year, $132 million deal. Slow start, a little better lately, but Ray, looking at his numbers, he has struck out 66 times in 166 at bats.
So the anti-Victor Martinez.
That's
I mean, that is a lot of strikeouts. A big one here would be great.
And he got him. High fastball, and Upton strikes out again. Second strikeout for Manaea.
Well, that's a big one. Inside again, Stephen Vogt. And, you know, again, he's not getting the pitch inside, but look where the pitch is ending up. If he had set up on the outside part of the plate, it's probably going to be a foot outside. So in a sense, by setting up inside, Stephen Vogt is saying finish your pitch, and it's staying in the strike zone. In this case, elevated, and Upton could not make contact with it. Everybody's thinking, talking about Victor Martinez and making contact. It just proves that if you do put the ball in play, something good can happen.
No question.
And versus striking out, nothing good will happen to that except don't into a double play.
Maben swings and misses. I agree. Some people think a strikeout doesn't make any difference. I don't agree with that.
But it really, and Victor does a good job. He actually fouled one ball off that, you know, maybe it was by him, but he fouled it, kept it alive, and ended up getting another hit. But if you shorten up a little bit, just putting the ball in play, good things can happen, and this is proof of it. A couple of runners on base.
There's a runner out there. He's at second base. Alonso, a play. Yes, and he stumbles, falls down, hangs on. So 2 outs.
Well, that's a great play by Alonso because the way it finished, the fact that he stumbled a little bit as the ball took off on him, but watched him recover because he knows there's a runner at second, although Victor's really not a threat to run. But he goes over and he starts backpedaling and then loses his balance, but watch how quickly he pops up just in case Victor Martinez thought about tagging and going to third. And always remember, a ball in foul territory, no place for a base runner to go except back to the bag. Tag, possibly. But Alonso said, if you do, I'm going to get you. And he popped up quickly. Looked pretty good in Expo going to the ground.
Yeah. So here's the catcher, McCann. Fastball up and away.
He was injured when the A's were back in Detroit. He's a good young catcher, although his average and numbers are not there, but he is a very good receiver.
A little bit high, 2-0.
And I would say on the Detroit Tigers, with the offense they have, it's one club that you could say let the catcher do his job behind the plate, and whatever he gives offensively is a bonus because they have plenty of power in their lineup. And right now Sean Manaea trying to get the third out of the inning after putting 2 guys on to start the inning.
Two-0 pitch. Little slider first strike. Well, even last year, Ray McCann in 114 games, he hit 264. 7 homers, 40 run RBIs. He had 18 doubles and 5 triples. So yeah. I think the Tigers would be happy with that, and maybe he catches 125 games.
Actually, look, and the general manager let his son go.
That's right.
Al Avila took over.
What's up, Dave Clark?
He's not wearing enough protection to stand as close as he is to the batter's box. And all it takes is for a right-handed hitter to get out that quickly and pull the ball. And there's the coaching box way over there. That's amazing.
Swing and a miss. How about Manaea coming back and keeps the Tigers off the board? They had 2 on and nobody out, and they do not score. Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Josh Vegley's back, activated from the disabled list. That's good news. Matt McBride was sent back to AAA Nashville. So the A's got Lowry back on Wednesday. They get Vegley back tonight. And I guess Sonny Gray is supposed to throw a little bullpen tomorrow, which is good news.
Well, I think Bob Melvin and any manager would love to have a situation where, in the case of Stephen Vogt, he's a good enough hitter that when Vegley catches, he wants to DH Vogt. And
Iglesias clips it to first if Valencia's out.
But it's a little harder to do when you don't know who the emergency catcher is going to be.
That's true.
And the fact that McBride could play different positions, and you know, both those guys, I mean, there's a possibility that Stephen Vogt, good enough hitter that he can DH when Vegley catches, and we've seen it already. And of course, they're discussing Sean Manaea, they're discussing the Tigers, and maybe Vegley, one of these weekend games, will be in there. We'll see.
First pitch to Lowry, up and away. A's are 20-28 on the year, so it's game number 49. They have lost 6 out of their last 7. Upton comes in. He's there. He's really got to get something going at home. They're just 8-15 here at the Coliseum, and they're 12-13 on the road.
Probably surprised about that than anything.
Yeah,
just about the home numbers.
So the last 7 games where they've lost 6 of them, the batting average down. So just when you started to feel a little momentum after that Rangers series, it just went away. So 2 away, and Chris Davis steps in. Breaking ball that stayed high. A's lost 3 out of 4 in Detroit the end of April. Tigers put together a pretty good offensive show in that 4-game set. They outscored the A's 24-15.
And it was Rich Hill who won the only game.
Of course.
Yeah.
2-0 to Davis, 13 home runs, 31 RBIs, and he rips one into left field, a base hit. First hit for the A's, and it's a single by Chris Davis. That gets us to our forward right choice. This was Wednesday. Another home run for Chris Davis, right center off Iwakuma, and that was number 13 on the year. So he's, after a very slow start, he's really had a terrific month of May. He's got 10 home runs in May.
That's amazing. And there's not a park that can hold him either. I mean, talk about Miguel Cabrera using opposite field. Chris Davis of the A's does it as well.
He's got 22 RBIs in the month of May. Took him a little bit to get going, which is not a big surprise. Really the same thing with Yonder Alonso. Alonso has not got hot like Davis did.
Well, the Tigers talking about Justin Upton kind of the same way in the National League. And
he will, too.
Oh,
Upton
yeah,
will get
exactly.
hot.
Yeah. And the good thing about, in the case of Upton or any player that changes leagues, especially as a free agent, you get an opportunity to play. It's not like you're going to sit if you don't do well.
So you're saying if somebody gives you a nice free agent contract, you're going to play.
Thank you. And you have a chance to play your way out of any sort of a slump you might be in.
You mean $132 million will keep you in the line?
That's like signing a young kid to, say, a $6-7 million bonus. He will play in the minor leagues. They will see what he can do because they're not going to waste the money. But at this level, the same way, you'll get a chance.
So 1-2 the count. Michael Fulmer is 23 years old. Quick look, and Alonso will jam shot. Castellanos grabs it side, retired. Davis with a hit, nothing else for the A's, and we're headed to the 3rd. No score. CSN California is brought to you by AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Go to AAA.com for details. First pitch to the 9th place hitter, Jose Iglesias, is outside. Couple of hits given up by Minaya in the first 2 innings. He's got 3 strikeouts. This one fouled just below us. Iglesias hitting .216 with a homer and 9 RBIs. Iglesias last year had some pretty good offensive numbers, but he's really sort of a magician at shortstop defensively.
He's got the other magician actually coaching first base.
Yep.
Omar Vizquel, the real magician, the owner of many Gold Gloves.
Toward right center, Coughlin and Burns, and it'll be Burns who grabs it. Burns is playing shallow. Omar Vizquel.
11 Gold Gloves and probably will manage one day. He's the Omar Vizquel salsa in Cleveland. Remember that when we were in there? See the salsa? The man who did not want to be traded from Seattle to Cleveland said, I don't want to go to Cleveland. And
he was there for the heyday of the Indians.
Big time, man. He just, it seemed like, I mean, you never get a ball by him, and you think, oh, the guy's going to beat it out, and he'd beat him by half a step with his throw.
Well, plus you think of those Indians teams, and it was all about giant sluggers, guys who just mashed the baseball, but they were a really good defensive team as well, and led by him.
And Roberto Alomar's double play combination, and Sandy catching.
One and one to Kinsler. Kinsler was robbed of extra bases in the very first inning. Billy Burns made a beautiful diving catch.
Kinsler has found a home in Detroit after being acquired by the Tigers from the Texas Rangers. Go from the heat, humidity, and oops.
And that one is belted to left field. Chris spins around near the wall, leaps, and it's off the wall. Coco bangs hard into the wall. And Kinsler is going to have time to race all the way around to third with a triple. And let's hope Coco's okay. He hit that wall pretty hard.
Well, Billy Burns had a long way to run to get to it. And I'll be honest with you, when he left his bat, I thought it was gone, but had some top spin on it. Kinsler might have thought also, because once the ball went back and hit off the wall, Coco thought he had a chance to catch it, and he almost did. But once he got up and the ball hit off the wall, he didn't miss it by much. Just over the top of his glove. But Billy Burns running all the way from center field to back it up as the ball came hard off the wall. Coco must have landed on his right hand or hit the wall with the right hand.
First pitch to J.D. Martinez. Big swing and a miss.
Well, and his right hand came down and kind of jammed his hand. That's why he's flexing his right hand. Looking at it, he's hit the warning track.
Swing and a miss, 0-2. Field in.
That last fastball, great location. Got him with the slider to the back foot his first time, but this fastball inside tied him up a little bit, just trying to get the ball someplace. Martinez was on that swing.
Strike 3 call, the fastball on the inside corner. Martinez sees 3 pitches and got nothing to show for it.
Well, great backing up on the fastball inside, and he swung at one, took this one. Big Joe West liked it, and that's all that matters for Country Joe, because he got the fist pump looking right over the head of Stephen Vogt with a fastball inside corner. And Martinez didn't like the call, but most guys with the right hand or ball coming inside don't like it anyway.
Cabrera hits it hard. Alonso grabs it, and Minaya gets out of the jam. So Kinsler stranded at third. Bottom of the third coming up.
Baseball celebrates all forms of youth baseball and softball, from organized league games to simply playing catch. Come out to the Coliseum this weekend for MLB's inaugural Play Ball Weekend, proudly supported by Chevrolet and Scott's. This Sunday, 10,000 fans will receive bat and ball sets. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets. Big weekend. Josh Reddick bobblehead tomorrow.
Quick 0-2 to Marcus Semien, who's hitting .219 with 10 homers, 21 RBIs. Coghlan to follow, and then Crisp. A's have one hit in the first 2 innings off Michael Fulmer. Iglesias out, and the young shortstop's there. He's got it. So 1 away here in the 3rd. And that'll bring up
Batting the 9th position, right fielder.
So I guess if you're going to trade Yoenis Cespedes like the Tigers did to the Mets, you certainly want to get somebody back that's going to help you soon. Tigers said we want Fulmer, and he was in the minor leagues at the time. Now trying to stick in the big leagues. He's making his 6th start.
And the Mets fortunate to re-sign Yoenis Cespedes after trading away. It's kind of tough to trade for somebody, try to win, which they did, went to the World Series, and then lose the player. I know the Royals did it with Ben Zobrist.
Such a crazy sport. Remember the Mets and the Carlos Gomez trade.
Right.
Remember they thought that they had a deal, or the deal was close, but it never went through. Fulmer scoops it up himself and will take it himself. But Carlos Gomez was with the Brewers, and the Mets wanted him, and they came close to making a trade. And of course, with social media now, social media basically said it was a deal, but the deal fell through, and then the Mets shifted gears and went and got Cespedes. But if that deal is done with Gomez, the Mets don't get Cespedes, and they probably don't go to the World Series.
No, and Cespedes had an unbelievable time with the Mets, and
they weren't going to get Gomez and Cespedes.
Exactly.
But it's just crazy how it works, and then Cespedes has a terrific couple months.
And the poor young shortstop for the Mets was crying.
Yeah,
figured it's all over.
He's back now.
Yeah. And he walking off the field, and Terry Collins had to go talk to him.
It's funny too, is we'll never know the answer to this, but how many trades are so close to being made and then not made? I think it happens a lot more than we realize.
And you know, it's a good point that you bring up, because about that trade we know about it, but how many didn't go through and aren't talked about? So nobody knows, but that one was well publicized.
I bet deals get close to being done, and then the team backs out,
and they're either happy or very sad. Now back-to-back at bats by Coco, taking the count to 3-0, and then Fulmer came back and got Coco on a 3-1 fastball.
and that's a strike on the outside corner. And Coco popped to short in the 1st inning. So Fulmer does not have a strikeout yet after striking out 11 in his last start. Struck out 11 in 7 innings. As we showed you from Oklahoma City, some more rookie numbers. Strikeout to walk ratio is very good. 3-1.
And that says a lot about 3-0 to Coco. 3-1 first time pop up, and now 3-2 in this at bat.
Coco rolls it foul.
And I think too, when you go into a series and you're facing a pitcher you've never seen, you know, one thing you look at is that strikeout to walk ratio, and figure if he walks some batters, he might be a little bit more patient when he falls behind. But in this case, you figure he's going to be around the plate, might as well let it go.
Two pitch bounce to Cabrera. Cabrera will underhand to Fulmer, and Michael Fulmer has a 3-up 3-down 3rd inning. 4th inning coming up. No score, A's and Tigers. So scoreless, top of the 4th inning. They're happy. School's out for another week, and they got a long weekend. Memorial Day. First pitch to Victor Martinez is in first strike. Martinez had the infield hit in the 2nd inning. Martinez in the 2nd year of that 4-year contract he signed when he became a free agent with the Tigers. But the Tigers said, we're going to keep you. Miguel Cabrera said the Tigers are going to keep it. So they gave him a 4-year $68 million deal, and he really is a terrific hitter. And last year he was banged up, just could not get healthy.
And Victor is proof, and he admitted it. Remember, he came up as a catcher with the Cleveland Indians, went to Boston, but now strictly as a DH. But he said, if I had to catch, I wouldn't be playing, because he just knows the wear and tear on the body. Elevated fastball again, inside target by Stephen Vogt, with the pitch away, and Victor thinking about opposite field. He has the power to go that way.
Victor Martinez now 37 years old. Pops this one just a little shy of our booth.
So, you know, he has parlayed that contract. He's had a couple good contracts, especially the Tigers, but a good friend, Marco Scutaro, down in Florida. He said he's about 8 miles from Marco. He bought a big ranch, and he said Marco loves to fish on his own.
Don't blame him.
And Marco, I guess, his back really took its toll when he just finished out with Giants. But Victor said at times he can barely sit down, so his back's still bothering quite a bit. But it doesn't bother him fishing.
Good for him.
Yeah. Victor, as well as Cabrera, Felix Hernandez, Marco, of course, Venezuela. Sean Manaea trying to go through the order of the Tigers the 2nd time. A very good hitting Tigers lineup, and he's done well so far.
So a full count now to Martinez, Castellanos to follow, and then Upton. Now Victor Martinez, this is his 5th year with Detroit.
He lost the 1 year with a bad knee injury.
That's right.
Surgery he had missed. That's when they signed Prince Fielder.
That's right. So that you're right. I missed that. So this is his 6th year. He missed 2012
but he didn't play
completely.
Right. Yeah, he didn't play. But the years that you talk about is the years he has played. But he definitely missed a full season with knee injury. But he's such a good hitter. Not surprised they wanted to bring him back. They missed him so badly. That's when Michael Ilitch, the owner, agreed to let them go out and sign Prince Fielder, a huge contract. And Victor came back, and ultimately Prince went to the Rangers in the Kinsler deal.
Another pop foul back. In fact, the year that he missed, 2012, that's the year they went to the World Series.
That's right. Beat the A's.
Now, last year, Martinez, as we said, was kind of just banged up. His knee was bothering him. He hit .245 with 11 home runs in 120 games, and that is not the Victor Martinez that we know. The year before that, he was huge. .335 with 32 home runs.
Well, a series in Comerica Park, he and Miguel Cabrera, of course, first in front of him, went back-to-back home runs. And Victor was asking Joe West about the last pitch, if it was a strike or not, but close enough he's going to protect.
Grounds this one slowly towards Simeon. Simeon throws in time, 1 out.
Well, the big day is coming up. You can celebrate Father's Day at the ballpark. Log on to athletics.com/tickets and use coupon code DAD to receive $10 off field level tickets to see the A's take on their American League West rivals, the Los Angeles Angels. Discounted Father's Day tickets are subject to availability, so make plans right now to treat Dad to an afternoon of baseball on Sunday, June the 19th. Dad will love you if you bring him to the yard to watch a baseball game. It's a fun time. I'm sure Jack's thinking the same thing. Dad, take you to the ball game.
Should get him out here this weekend. Castellanos had a base hit in the 2nd inning. And that one is skied toward right field. Coughlin is out there. There's Coughlin making his 3rd start in right field this year. He takes care of it. 2 away here in the 4th.
Rich Hill pitched in Seattle and beat the Mariners, and after the 8 innings we had a shot of Rich Hill and Sean Manaea on the top step talking to each other, and I kind of indicated that pretty good idea to talk to Rich Hill because both left-handed pitchers, and Rich will pitch in the series. But you see what Sean Manaea is doing with the backdoor breaking pitch, similar to what Rich Hill does so successfully. He started outside the right-handers, bringing in freezing the hitters, and Sean Manaea, the first strike to Castellanos was the slider outside, frozen. So he's going slider outside to the outside part of the plate, also the hard slider down and in to the right-handers. A great pitch to have, especially with so many righties.
Upton struck out in the 2nd inning. 67th time that he has struck out this year. Got to be among the league leaders, right?
About 40% of the time. That's a lot of strikeouts
now. Changeup, good one.
Yeah. Well, he could sell it, and Manaea, as big as he is, and he pulls a string on a changeup after good fastball, and he has pulled a string on a pitch out of the strike zone. Stephen Vogt pointed his glove at him, said, "Nice pitch, great location."
Line drive and a base hit to right field for Upton. Hit number 4 for the Tigers. Upton's probably wishing he would have did that in the 2nd inning.
Well, that was a little bit more elevated. They want to go upstairs more, but didn't get it up there. That was a waist-high fastball to Upton, and yeah, he was hit. He will hit some home runs, but that pitch, 2 strikes especially, to go to right field.
So here's Cameron Maben.
See, Alonso and Upton would have been teammates in San Diego, right? Just yeah, been that, yeah,
sure.
Last year,
probably a couple years.
Yeah.
Maben down the right field line, and it's fair. Upton rounding 3rd, heading home. Alonso's throw is late. Not by much, but Upton scores, and the Tigers lead 1-0.
Well, you think so much about the Tigers pulling the ball, but back-to-back hitters going to right field. This ball just did not slice enough from the A's standpoint to go foul. Instead, down in the corner, and with 2 outs in that location, it's very easy for a runner to score from first base. Good throw by Alonso, but you know, unfortunately, with the new rule, catcher makes it very difficult.
It was the right hand of Upton that he just kind of.
That's surprising. Usually they drag the left hand, but Stephen Vogt almost got him, but just a tad late. But you know, if a catcher could still do what he used to do before last year, he could block him off the plate.
Yeah. Little flare. That's trouble. Coughlin can't get it. Maben coming in, and Maben will score. So James McCann with a little flare for an RBI single, and the Tigers lead 2-0.
So 3 consecutive hits to right field after 2 outs in the inning. And because of 2 outs, they've been able to go on contact on the ball towards the end of the bat by McCann and just served it out to right field.
Broken bat. So here's Iglesias. 2 spot for Detroit here in the top of the 4th. Iglesias hit a fly ball to center field back in the 3rd inning. So 6 hits now for Detroit. Tigers coming into tonight's game 5th in the American League in total runs scored, 6th in home runs. They're 3rd in on base percentage, 3rd in slugging percentage. So to be surprised, they're a pretty good offensive team. But the thing that really surprised me, Ray, and You look at their lineup, it's all, not all, but mostly right-handed hitters. Tonight it is all right-handed hitters, and really good right-handed hitters. But against left-handed pitching, 236. Against right-handed pitching, 275. A difference of 39 points. I would not have thought that in a million years. In fact, the reason I looked it up is because I thought it would be the opposite.
That's right.
That they would feast on left-handed pitching. But their average against right-handed pitching, 39 points higher. Bit of a surprise.
Yeah, very much so.
Another foul ball by Iglesias.
You look at this inning, Victor Martinez grounded out to short. Then Castellanos to right field. Upton, Maben, McCann, all to right field. Wally Joyner, the hitting coach. Former great player with the Angels for many years, first baseman.
One-two pitch. Shallow right center. Lowry out. Coghlan in. Coghlan has it. Side retired. So a 2-out rally for the Tigers, and they get a pair. Bottom of the fourth coming up. 2-0 Detroit. CSN California is brought to you by Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on. Sunset over the port of Oakland, and the Tigers leading 2-0, bottom of the fourth inning. As it is a holiday weekend, Monday being Memorial Day. So the A's down as Burns leads it off. Burns bunts it foul up the first base line. See what's going on elsewhere. The Angels and the Astros opening up a series down in Anaheim, and the Angels with a 6-0 lead in the fourth inning over Houston. Houston just swept the Orioles. So there's that theory about momentum from series to series, which generally doesn't exist. Cabrera has it, and he'll just beat Burns to the bag. So the Angels out on top early in that one. The Twins are leading the Mariners 6-1 in the third inning, and that's Felix Hernandez. How about that?
Now batting, the catcher.
Mariners have won 6 out of 7, but trailing 6-1 in the third. Twins will be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
It's probably the night court up there tonight, right?
You would think.
But it's not dark yet, so maybe it'd be twilight court.
Not quite night, twilight court.
Because it takes a long time to get dark up in Seattle.
And these Tigers will go to Anaheim Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
But you know they don't go to Seattle. Isn't that amazing?
Nope. Hard to figure out.
It is very hard. Why they would not schedule. I mean, well,
let's see. When do they go to
I
Seattle?
think Chicago, Seattle. I think it's
Yeah. Seattle, Texas. With an off day in Arlington. Vogt is able to get out of the way, I think. Just barely.
Well, they say hard in, soft away. It's the hard end to the back foot and flipped him out from under. I still think that while you avoid getting hit, but watch when he goes up and then down hard. That hurts going down on the knees. Hurts me.
And on the fingers.
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
holding
the
on to
whole
the bat.
body, you know. And Stephen Vogt as a catcher probably said, hey, what's the big deal? You know, just I don't have shin guards on. But nothing ever bothers him.
And then he rips one to right, and coming in is J.D. Martinez, and he makes a nice play. So Vogt with a line drive, and Martinez grabs it. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, this time he went over whoever was playing in right field. Shallow right from an infielder standpoint, but Martinez, good break on the ball that was sinking quickly, and nice play. Speaking of Houston.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wish they had him, I bet. First pitch to Valencia right there. First strike. Valencia grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. Fulmer still does not have a strikeout, but he hasn't really needed it. I got him for 6 ground ball outs.
You're right.
Valencia toward the far end of the dugout off the side wall. .320 him at 1 average with 2 strikes for Danny Valencia. Valencia's a guy, I mean, he's got obviously good power, and he swings hard, but he is also not afraid to go to right field, and he does not strike out a lot.
Yeah.
He's only struck out 21 times this year in 112 at bats, and that's a very low number.
And with the shift, that's a great opportunity to hit the right field if they stay away. A breaking ball, but can set up in the middle of the plate on that one. Nice catch. I would assume a Tigers fan on top of it. Getting booed by the locals.
He doesn't care.
No.
Another foul ball. Valencia keeping the fans happy.
It's all right. I like the original shot which showed him with the ball.
Nice
in the glove.
play.
Yeah.
Nice play.
Ball's bigger than his hand.
So is his smile.
Yeah, that's good.
He's so psyched.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Swing and a miss. And there is the first strikeout for Michael Fulmer, and another 3-up, 3-down inning for Fulmer. And we're on to the 5th. We got a happy youngster in the ballpark. 0-0, and it is the top of the 5th inning. It's the top of the order for the Tigers. They're all right. They're hanging in there. She says there's a lot of time in this game. A lot of time. Kinsler has been robbed of a hit, and he has tripled. He tripled with 1 out in the 3rd, but the Tigers could not get him home. And then they ended up scoring 2 runs with the 2-out rally.
Yep. In the bottom of the batting order. Scotty's back to normal. I asked him the other day when we attaboy, just walked it over. I said, Scotty, you said you weren't going to be able to make the call, and he said, I was a gamer. I fought through it. I went down there. I wasn't feeling my best, but
he fought through it.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, I always felt like if you call yourself a gamer, then you're really not a gamer. It sort of needs to come from somebody else.
I said, Scotty, you can do it. You're a gamer. You know, you a little bit under the weather. He said, yeah, but you fought through it. Sit down there with a double ear flap.
That's fair. Bounce right over the bag, headed for the corner. Nico picks it up, and Kinsler has a leadoff double here in the 5th. A double and a triple for Kinsler.
Well, it's great.
Just went right over the bag.
Yeah, great that Billy Burns made a great play in the 1st inning. Otherwise, he'd have 3 hits and stayed back on the changeup, and it was just over the bag.
Number 28.
And just enough to be down in the corner to start the inning with a double. But he's at 3rd with 2 outs and got the big strikeout and the ground out. He's back for 3rd, but got just like in the 4th inning against the Yankees last Sunday. They scored 4 runs then, 2 runs tonight.
So here's J.D. Martinez. Taps it foul. Martinez has struck out twice, once swinging, once looking. 4 strikeouts for Manaea. Martinez has become a very dangerous hitter. Burns over to right center. Kinsler's going to tag, and it'll be Coghlan instead. Coghlan comes up throwing, and Kinsler with a head first slide will make it. So now Kinsler is at 3rd with 1 out again, just like he was in the 3rd inning. And here's tonight's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Highest fielding percentage by American League shortstops this season, and it's great to have Marcus Semion's name on that list. He's worked very hard. Jose Iglesias is first, and that's nobody's going to be surprised by that. Semien is on there. He's made just 3 errors so far this year.
That is a great spot to be for Marcus Semien, considering last year to this year. Thought it's interesting too. Xander Bogaerts on there as a number 2, working very hard. Brian Butterfield has him working hard in Boston, as we found out when we were there, playing a very good shortstop. This guy's not who you want up with a runner at 3rd and 1 out.
And indeed, the infield in with Victor Martinez waiting in the on-deck circle.
And this could very easily be a pitch around, pitch carefully. And if you put him on, you have a chance to back up the infield to get 2 with Victor coming up.
That may be your best chance, even though Victor Martinez, as we mentioned before, is hitting .406 with runners in scoring position. But, so that's what you're dealing with, but he also hits the ball hard and does not run well.
Right, and they just tried for 3. Tried 3 pitches, and they decided to put him on.
Bob Melvin will let everybody know what to do, including the middle infielders.
See that throw by Manaea?
Yeah.
And they want to eliminate the intentional walk.
Now batting.
I mean, there's some pitchers being ecstatic.
Victor Martinez.
And Vogt, he was just in the hands though you throw it out, and he just And Cabrera on the intentional walk, if it had been closer, he might have gone out of the strike zone. Can't cross the plate. So now the infield does move back and looking for two. Pitcher with an infield hit his first at bat, then a ground out to short his next at bat. You take the ground out now to short, try to get a double play.
First pitch is down and into Martinez. Castellanos, the on deck hitter. 76 pitches for Sean Manaea. He had a 3-up, 3-down first inning, and he's had to deal with plenty of base runners since then. 2 on, nobody out in the second. Runner at third, 1 out in the third, and then the 2-out rally in the fourth. And this one's popped up. Alonso hustling back, and Alonso over the shoulder makes the catch. Kinsler comes down the line, and then the ball goes past Vogt, and Kinsler's going to come in to score.
They just sent him back. They just sent him back.
But Joe West, I think he called him out. The A's are walking off the field, so it has to be a double play. Now, why he called him out, we're not sure.
I have no idea. Unless there's interference. Could have been interference on interference, or maybe see if it hits Victor Martinez, because Joe, as the throw's coming to the plate, Victor, it hit Victor Martinez. That's the reason, and that's why he was doubled off. That's a great break. But he wouldn't have scored because he's faking down the line, but the ball wouldn't have gotten away from Stephen Vogt. That was right to him and then deflected. So great call, Joe West, and great show on the replays.
So the Tigers do not score. Strange inning, but you see the ball coming in, it hits Victor Martinez, and that's why obviously Stephen Vogt missed it, and Joe West saw it, and you're going to give Joe West some credit there because it happened quickly, and from our angle we did not notice that it hit Martinez.
And Victor had his head down.
Yeah, he didn't even see really the throw coming in.
No, and A's were hoping for a double play. That's a rare double play.
They got it.
But they got the double play they were hoping for. First of all, the pop out, but Alonso throwing the ball. This is, well, watch it deflect because it's coming right to Stephen Vogt. He's ready to catch it, and then deflected. Stephen went after it, and Joe West immediately said, "You're out."
It's a bit strange though that Victor Martinez wasn't looking at all.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's how we felt, Stephen. 1-2 to Lowry, leading things off for the A's here in the bottom of the 5th. The A's have just 1 hit, so they got to get something going.
He said, I told Chum and we can get double play right here with Victor Martinez. Might be the strangest double play we'll ever see.
Cabrera vacates first base, but Fulmer gets over there. Kinsler throws to Fulmer, and that's out number 1. So to be 4-1 on the putout. Cabrera took a couple steps to his right and then realized that
Now batting.
he was sort of in no man's land.
Number 2, Chris Davis.
He's actually got his left hand on his left hip too. You have to wonder what happened when maybe he went for the ball, pushing off his left leg. In the last couple of years, he's had some leg issues, and that's why the numbers, especially the right field, the home runs were not coming as much as this year.
1 out for Davis. Davis has the only hit. A single with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Pitch count's good for Fulmer. Hanger.
Yeah.
Davis hits good foul balls too, very high.
But it's like that every time he makes contact. It's oh, and just hit it up, fouled it.
So 1-1 to Davis. Alonso will be next. Well foul. 2nd level. The crowd tonight is 22,498. 22498. Fulmer kicks, and the 1-2 pitch is driven to left field. A line shot. Upton on the move, and Upton grabs it.
Well, there's no pitch alive that he can't hit hard. The ball is up in his eyes and able to get really on top of the ball to have the top spin. And Chris Davis, a very, very strong young man. And see, I got on top and hit down on the ball. That was eye height. He had some serious downspin or top spin on to keep the ball from getting up and out.
So 2 away. 9 in a row retired by Fulmer. 86 miles an hour, maybe like a changeup.
Fastball, slider, changeup. So you're probably right with the first swing or the swing of Alonso on the first pitch.
And that's grounded to 2nd. Easy play for Kinsler. And another 3-up, 3-down inning for Michael Fulmer. 6th inning coming up. Castellanos to lead it off. 2-0 Detroit. Tigers 2, A's nothing. Tigers got their 2 runs in the 4th inning, a 2-out rally. Castellanos, Upton, and Maben here in the 6th. And that one is hit high in the air, deep left field. Coco's going to watch this one leave the ballpark. Home run number 10 for Castellanos, and it's 3-0 Detroit.
Well, Castellanos, his last at bat, flew out to right field, and he was disgusted. He threw his bat. This time a breaking ball coming in to his wheelhouse, and he didn't miss it. So the fastball to right field, the slider dropped the head of the bat, and that was it. Well, there's a slider down and in.
Just made Castellanos look like a low ball hitter. So here's Upton. Upton has struck out and he has singled and scored. He came up in the 4th inning with 2 outs, nobody on base. He lined a single to right, and that started that little 2-run rally. Came around to score. A little bit outside, 2-0. They're starting to move around a little bit in that Tigers bullpen. Homer's pitch count is pretty good. More action for Alonso. He's starting to know that territory pretty well. He's got it. So 2 away, or make that 1 away here in the 6th inning.
If it's one thing, and look at Castellanos and the breaking ball, but it seems like fastballs to right-handers are going to the right side. They're not pulling them. We saw the 3 consecutive hits to right field back in the 4th inning when they scored the 2. Get the breaking ball, and he pulls it. So it's almost as if maybe they've done some talking and say if the fastball's away, you might as well try to go to right field with it.
Here's Maben. Maben takes a strike on the inside corner. Maben had the double that got the Tigers on the board. He doubled down the right field line. Maben got hit by a pitch in spring training and just come back from the disabled list, and since coming back he's been terrific. In fact, he came off the disabled list and Anthony Goes was sent to the minor leagues. Maben coming over in an off-season trade.
He showed his speed when he got to second and then scored on the base hit by McCann. Of course, with 2 outs going on contact.
Came over from the Atlanta Braves. And just 1 year in Atlanta, and it was a pretty good year. He was originally with the Tigers. About that, drafted by the Tigers, but he was traded for Miguel Cabrera.
Yep.
Then he went to Florida. Florida to San Diego, 1 year in Atlanta, and now back to Detroit. How about that? Playing with Cabrera. He was a big prospect for the Tigers, and that's why the Marlins wanted him.
And you're going to give up Miguel Cabrera, you better get
a bunch. Yeah. 3-2 pitch. Did he go? It looked like it. No. Well, Maben walks.
Well, fans, if you're looking for the perfect place to host your annual company party, check out the A's Eastside Club. The Eastside Club accommodates up to 1,200 guests and includes a pregame catered meal and game ticket. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/BBQ.
There's the Eastside Club.
Yeah.
Walk right in those doors. Get your party started.
1,200 of your favorite friends.
Dole will start to get loose. There's the easy one. Cancho's bunt, and down around the knees, a called strike. McCann had an RBI single in the 4th. He struck out in the 2nd. Defense straight up, looking for a ground ball from James McCann. Maben is a good base stealer. He's 4 out of 5 this year. He's playing in just his 10th game, but he has very good speed and a very good lead. So now it's 0-2.
Hey, think about Manaea's starts last Saturday. There's Dave Clark and the Dave Clark 5, but Manaea only got 1 run support in the game last Saturday. It was a Tanaka game. A's with bases loaded early, but came up with just 1 run. And tonight, nothing against Fulmer.
Runner goes, and the ball's hit toward right field. Coghlan hustling back. Maben makes sure he touches second base, and then he gets back to first. So McCann flies out to right field.
That was an emphatic at second base, right? To put his foot down.
He stopped, stood on it, and then went back.
Pushed off.
Now batting.
But that's the speed he has to be able to get to second, trying to steal, and gets there and second base, and boom, and then glides back to first. That is tremendous speed. There they had Rajai Davis. The Tigers did. He stole a lot of bases. This may be an added part of the game for the Tigers.
Maben dancing and Manaea just holding.
Well, the thing that Maben did with Manaea, he drew a throw, and he could see the pickoff move, and he could see the throw was not that hard, and usually left-handers don't have great moves anyway. Yep.
And they got Maben. Simeon will tag him. So nicely done by Manaea. A home run by Castellanos. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 3-0 Tigers. Story brought to you by McDonald's. June 25th of 1996. That's Mark McGwire hitting career home run number 300. It came off Omar Olivares. He hit a couple home runs that day, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He also hit his first career home run against the Tigers. It was at Tiger Stadium. Most home runs in A's franchise history. Mark McGwire is first. So the A's now trailing 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Simeon, Coghlan, and Crisp. 10 in a row retired by Michael Fulmer, making just his 6th big league start. Not overpowering anybody, but getting ahead of hitters. He has no walks, 1 strikeout in just 61 pitches.
And the no walks, he's throwing strikes, and even though he falls behind, it's almost as if he believes that he's not going to walk a batter. 3-0 twice to Coco's, come back to get him out both times. This fastball sinking down and in.
jam shot. Castellanos has it. Throws in time.
Yeah, August. Oh, straightaway center. That's 440 feet away, by the way, to straightaway center field. And Jet Lemon going after it. Look at that skinny man. Mickey Templeton. But at 440 feet straightaway center, Old Tiger Stadium, he hit it in the upper deck. Tiger Stadium, that was a long way.
That's hard to do.
Yes, but he also did it in college. He played for USC, went into Tiger Stadium and played there. So when he did that, he said, I'd done it before. 49 his rookie season. 49 home runs. Bench coach now for the San Diego Padres.
2-0 to Coughlin. Coughlin grounded out. Back to Fulmer, who took it himself, ran to the bag. There's a strike. So 2-1 the count.
You know, we talk about green light on 3-0. How about green light 2-0? The guy's going to be around the plate. And Fulmer has proven that tonight.
Tapped foul. Chris Coughlin would take any ideas right now.
Exactly.
He's really been struggling. He's 2 for his last 32. Good swing there. Fouls it left side. A's bullpen is quiet.
Bob Melvin was happy that Zach Neal was able to pitch 4 innings on Wednesday night, going out for the 4th after giving up a lot of runs in the 3rd. At a 1-2-3-4th inning, but bullpen. Hill went 8 innings, and that was the beginning of this series against Seattle. This ball almost ran in on Coughlin to hit him.
So full count. He's looking for base runners. And they have one. A 1-out walk to Coughlin. And that's the first walk issued by Fulmer. So he'll get a visit from his catcher. In that last start where he struck out 11 in 7 innings, he threw 106 pitches. So here's Coco Crisp. Castellanos, the third baseman, comes in on the grass. Burns to follow. Coco hits one high in the air right center. Martinez over there, and Martinez makes the catch. So 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Coughlin back to first. And now Burns will hit.
Now batting center fielder, number 1, Billy Burns.
So 3 runs and 8 hits for the Tigers. No runs and 1 hit for the Athletics. So 9 ground ball outs, 7 fly ball outs, and just the 1 strikeout. That was Valencia in the 4th inning. Burns has grounded out to 3rd, and he has grounded out to 1st. Pretty good lead by Coughlin at first. Grounded right to Kinsler. Easy play. Side retired. So the 1-out walk by Coughlin, and that is it for the A's. 7th inning coming up. Tigers 3, A's nothing. California is brought to you locally by Energy Upgrade California. Energy tips, rebates, and financing options are available at energyupgradeca.org. 7th inning. The Tigers leading 3-0.
Leading off, number 1, Jose Iglesias.
The pitching matchup tonight, a couple of rookies, Manaea and Fulmer. And Fulmer's been really good. Manaea's been pretty good. Manaea at 90 pitches deals to Iglesias, who skies one into foul territory. Valencia took a peek, but he just runs out of room.
Sean Manaea's going to have to do a better job of picking pitchers that are pitching against the A's, because he's not pitched that badly, and this pitcher's duel, unfortunately, 2 outs, 2 runs for the Tigers, and then the solo home run. Otherwise, he's had a very good game.
Jumps ahead of Jose Iglesias. 0-2. Iglesias has hit a fly ball to center and a fly ball to right. Angels leading the Astros. It's now 7-0 in the 6th inning. And the Twins over the Mariners 6-2 in the 6th. Right field. Coghlan coming in. He can't get it. Kicks past him, and that's going to allow Iglesias to get to second base. Burns was backing it up, but he still had a long ways to get over there. Coghlan could not quite come up with it.
Well, if you can't catch the ball, and it's going to be tough anyway, just make sure. Actually turn the glove to the side. That's probably going to be the last hitter, but keep the double play in order is the old rule of thumb. And by diving for the ball, got past him, allowed Iglesias, who had singled on a 2-strike fastball away. So again, going to right field by the Tigers.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
Presented by Comerica Bank. Tomorrow, 15,000 fans will walk away with a replica, one of the Gold Glover's signature catches. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets or by calling 877-493-BALL. That's tomorrow. The Josh Reddick bobblehead. Asking him about the good news he got about no surgery. Sean Manaea, his line, he's responsible for the runner at second base. A couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, 6+ innings for the tall left-hander. I guess they were looking at the tendons in the thumb of Josh Reddick. He didn't feel that it's going to be necessary to have surgery.
Simeon's going to go to third, and the A's will get the out there. Iglesias with a base running mistake. As he takes off, the ball was coming right at him. Really no excuse for him to go.
Especially as hard as it was hit, Cap. That's the important thing. Simeon, though, Another very good play, accurate throw to third base, knowing also that with the runner in front, he had time to get the lead runner, and he got the ball there plenty of time. Tagged on the knee. Valencia, the knee of Iglesias, running in, a bad base running mistake. Hayes could not take some base running mistakes in Seattle by, I don't know, whatever happened to Jonas Martin. I did hear about his hamstring injury, if he was bad enough that had to take some time off, but he could barely walk, much less run.
So Kinsler now at first with one out. J.D. Martinez hits for the fourth time. For Dole, his 21st appearance, he's got an ERA of 3.28. Good breaking ball outside corner first strike. Martinez has struck out twice and hit a fly ball to right field. Vogt wanted to pitch inside. It ended up being a high fastball. Defense plays Martinez straight away. He's got good power to all fields. Really Burns is shaded a little bit toward left center, but I've seen Martinez hit long home runs to right field. That is not strange to see with him at all.
And when you do it at Comerica Park, it goes a long way, especially near the out-of-town scoreboard. Here the dimensions are reasonable, and should be interesting starting tomorrow. That day game on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and with the weather expected to be pretty nice, the ball should be carrying.
Alonso, maybe. Alonso with a nice play. 2 away.
Well, the Josh Reddick injury that put him on the disabled list, and this was the slide that, as he went into second base with the Yankees, Betanzas slide and the left thumb, but whenever the doctor looked at it for the second opinion, there was some concerns about the tendons in the thumb, but he took the little guard off his thumb and he said, once I could move my thumb, I knew there was no injury from that standpoint. So it's just a matter of, he can throw, he can run, he could swing using the bottom hand, but he just can't really swing and use his left hand. I think he said he could start swinging effective next Monday. And if he can deal with the pain, that'll be okay, which, knowing Josh Reddick, he can deal with pain.
Cabrera 0 for 2 with a walk. Kinsler with 4 steals. Missed again, and now it's 2-0.
Miguel Cabrera facing Sean Manaea 3 times, and 0 for 2 with the walk, the intentional walk, but that's what he's done against the American League West. 19 and 61. That's pretty impressive.
He has 419 career home runs.
But he faces Manaea 3 times, and then he gets a right-hander. That's what's impressive about the Jackie Bradley Jr. story. With his consecutive hit streak, Joe DiMaggio in 56 games, as Rosie found out, 54 pitchers that he faced, where in the case of tonight, Cabrera might see 3 pitchers in this game. Seeing 2 and see what happens as the game progresses to the 8th and 9th.
So he walks with 2 outs. 3rd walk issued by A's pitchers tonight. So now Victor Martinez will hit from the left side.
Now batting, number 41, Victor Martinez.
He's a .226 hitter, right-handed, .364 left-handed. So this year he's significantly better from the left side. So he's right where he wants to be. 2 on, 2 out. Martinez singled in the 2nd. grounded out in the 4th. He popped out into that strange double play in the 5th inning. He has a pretty good time.
He plays the game like he should. He has a good time. He's a great player. But I don't know if he stresses about anything.
A little bit low. So 1-1 the count. Lowry is out on the grass in shallow right field. Surprising, Martinez took a fastball.
Yeah, the Cleveland fans must love him in Cleveland, because every time he goes over to foul ball, he signs an autograph,
sure,
or gives the batting gloves or bats or whatever to the fans down in the lowest row.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice block by Vogt.
Got a hard slider by Dog. A good block by Vogt, and fastball down the middle taken, as well as this slider in the dirt.
Kinsler at second and Cabrera the runner at first. Fastball, Vogt wanted it in, and Dahl got it in.
An amazing thing how late Stephen Vogt moved. He went outside, then inside, and got a moving target handled well by Ryan Dahl. Stephen outside, and watch if he moves right there, and Victor concentrating on the pitcher so he could make the movement, and of course the hitter could feel at times when a catcher moves like that. In the case of Matt Stairs, he would look down and see the shadows created by the light stands. Does it again.
2-2 pitch is lofted toward right field, and that will do it. So the Tigers strand a couple of runners, and we have reached the 7th inning stretch. 3-0 Detroit. In California is brought to you by Clipper. For work, play, and all points between. Use Clipper instead of cash to pay for transit. Nice night at the ballpark. He's trailing 3-0. It's the bottom of the 7th inning, so A's have 3 more shots to get to Michael Fulmer. Manaea goes 6+ innings. And here's Fulmer, pitch number 73, and it's a touch outside to Vogt, Valencia, and Lowry.
And that number that you just said is the amazing thing, that here he is pitching the 7th inning and he's averaging about 12 pitches per inning. So the A's trying to work him, but he's done a good job as Fernando Rodriguez gets loose.
Vogt has grounded out, and he has lined out. Lined out to right field in the 4th inning. 1 walk, 1 strikeout for Fulmer. It's interesting that he had 11 strikeouts in his last start and just 1 tonight, and equally effective. Maybe even more effective tonight without the strikeouts.
And seeing the A's for the first time, it's not like, I mean, he's blew away the Rays, it looked like, some of the fastballs. Look at that.
Right at Iglesias, and Vogt is retired.
One player to the left side of the infield. You saw where whoever, well, I guess Castellanos, who had moved over to shallow right field, third base.
Now batting third baseman, number 26.
He felt like he just wasn't involved.
Yeah.
See what happens when you shift like that, Ray? Then you get all discombobulated when they throw the ball around the horn.
Yeah, and he throw the dugout.
They threw it to him. He threw it in the dugout.
It's like a fan giving a ball on a foul ball and says, "This is a great one. I'm going to throw it back on the field."
He got it.
How about this? Yeah.
What?
And then it goes.
That's a game ball. Oh, okay. It's those shifts, man.
That's right.
See what happens?
Yeah, he moved back close to his normal position. Didn't know what to do with the baseball. Throw it away.
Valencia, broken bat, slowly hit. Iglesias has it. That's the 2nd out. Major broken bat by Valencia.
So that's why his
the
pitch
most
down.
is 14. That's a pretty good line. So it has been a nice quiet night for the Tigers bullpen. Those guys have been able to just sit around, chat about the game, and not worry about too much so far. But it is only a 3-0 game.
And Gene Lamont is the fill-in manager. Of course, experience he has, but it's been an easy night for him. Okay, you have the green light. You have the green light. You hit home runs. You drive in runs, and I'll just sit on the side. And he's the bench coach for Brad Ausmus.
Lowry is 0 for 2. And now he's behind in the count, 0-2 in that one. The first pitch to Lowry he took, that was 97 miles an hour. The next pitch he fouled back was 95. I do think his delivery has something to do with his effectiveness. He sort of jumps at you right before he delivers, right there.
Oh,
and he hit Lowry in the foot. So much for his smooth delivery.
With the same foot Jet got hit with a foul ball. Got him actually in the foot. He got the. Oh, that's interesting. He got the shin guard underneath his uniform.
And from what I understand, he has a new shin guard.
Yeah,
because the older one was dented. That's not good.
Well, this one supposedly goes up to his kneecap too, so he's going to cover a lot of the leg. So when he lifts his pant leg up, pulls it out, it's like a shin guard, a full catcher shin guard.
Outside to Chris Davis, so a 2-out base runner for the A's.
And getting Chris Davis up with a runner on base could make it a 1-run game with one swing. He is that good, that strong.
Davis a single and a line out to left field. Inside, he checked his swing. So now Davis ahead in the count, 2-0.
He starts so late, and that's why McCann went to the appeal to first base.
pitch is fouled right up over our heads, and that does not happen very often. Right above us, right above the radio guys.
Well, that's a strong. Look at that follow-through swing. Wow. Value deck, got it, son.
Yep.
Hard. Yeah, it was picking up some velocity as it got to the upper deck.
Well, now Davis in a hitter's count again. The count is 3-1. Now we're going to start seeing some movement down in that bullpen. They just fired the Rosenberg toward the bullpen mound. That's usually a sign that something's going to happen. Right at him with 97 miles an hour, and it's 3-2. That's a challenge.
Well, the real problem here for Chris Davis, the fastball down the middle. You just challenged him with a 3-1 fastball, and see if he hangs a slider.
Justin Wilson, the left-hander, will start to throw. Swing and a miss. And he got him with a pitch out of the strike zone, and then a strikeout number 2, and that ends the 7th inning. 3-0 Tigers as we go to the 8th. Sports news for the Bay Area fan. It's Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai, and it's tonight at 10:30, and it's on CSN Bay Area. Multiple Warrior reports from Oklahoma City, where they will play Game 6 tomorrow night. Sharks and Penguins, that's the Stanley Cup Finals, folks. That starts on Monday. And the Cavs and the Raptors Game 6 highlights. Cavs are going back to the NBA Finals. So full show as always, with so much going on in the Bay Area.
So the Cavs got upset when they lost 2?
Yeah, they took charge. So LeBron and the Cavs going back. Simeon scoops it up, throws in time. Castellanos is out. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. The Fernando Rodriguez comes in for appearance number 19, doing a very nice job this year.
Now batting, number 8.
More strikeouts than innings pitched.
You're thinking about the Cavs. The city of Cleveland. It's been a long time since they've had a champion.
Yeah.
The Indians in 48. It's the last. I mean, they're second only to the Cubs as far as not winning a world championship. I don't know when the Browns. They ever
64.
64,
yeah.
And that's the last, right?
That's it. Cavs have never won. to say they're starved would be a bit of an understatement.
And they were so close with the Indians. I want to say 97 and 07. I think they were a strike away in Florida in 97.
Yeah, they've had some heartbreaking moments in Cleveland. No question about that. So close.
Well, your brother and I were there. They weren't heartbreakers.
You guys weren't there.
We just flat out lost. So, I mean, there was nothing to be concerned about. Just missing out on a world championship.
Yeah, those were not heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, those were seasons in which we started the regular season knowing we're last place.
So ain't gonna miss 1 and 2. The Raiders broke the Browns' hearts.
That's right.
Like in 1980. On a bitter cold day in Cleveland.
Well, bitter and cold in Cleveland. That really sounds normal.
Hand in hand, yeah.
But I guarantee you that old Municipal Stadium had 75,000 strong, packed in.
Vogt scoops it.
Well, a couple of strikes, try to keep it in front of you, and Stephen Vogt, those great hands, and moving the body out to the right. Vogt had a little fun behind the plate too. He likes being back there.
Setting up inside and got the inside corner. Good pitch. Strike 3 called. I think Upton knew it. So we had an interesting play in the 5th inning. Remember, the ball, when it was thrown in, hit Victor Martinez, and we were sort of questioning why was Kinsler called out. Kinsler was the runner coming down. Well, here it is. If a member of the team at bat hinders a fielder's attempt to field a thrown ball, that certainly is what Victor Martinez did. The ball is dead. The runner on whom the play is being made, that would be Kinsler, should be declared out, and all runners return to the last legally occupied base at the time of interference. So your point was great, Ray. Kinsler was only bluffing scoring. He was not coming all the way. He was going to come down the line, maybe a third of the way, stop and go back. But when he saw the ball go past Vogt, then he took off. So if he would have just stayed at third, not bluffed, and just stood there, then nothing would have been called.
Probably could not have been called out, and except a dead ball, he would not have been able to score.
Yeah. But since he was moving like he was going to score, even though he was just bluffing.
Now, Alonso caught the ball, and if he's not coming down the line, Alonso probably doesn't throw. That's the question.
But you could see where Kinsler, he actually had started going back. But
he started down.
But that is the rule.
And it was explained to Gene Lamont by Joe West, who knows the rule book. And that's impressive on his part, that Joe West knew the rule. And I say that because what happened in Toronto last year in the division series, when the throw back from Russell Martin hit the bat, and that's a live ball, and it was called a dead ball, which it wasn't. It was a live ball. And that's when Odor did score. And it's a funny thing, if he hadn't scored, he wouldn't have been allowed to score. But the fact that he ran through and went to the dugout, then they called him back. But then once it was decided that, hey, it's a live ball. But Joe West, give him credit. He knew it, made the call immediately.
A little bit outside. So I guess that what it comes down to is in Joe West's interpretation, Kinsler was trying to score.
And that's the play, as the rule said, that's the play was made by the runner. If he doesn't leave the bag, maybe Alonso doesn't throw, and it's a moot point.
Yeah, then he's not attempting to score. So here's Kinsler again. Just watch him. See, he is actually bluffing, and then when he sees the throw coming in, he was going back to third, which is interesting. Lowry scoops it up, throws to first, and Rodriguez has a 3-up, 3-down inning. So the A's will try to get to work in the bottom of the 8th, trailing 3-0. Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 3-9-0 for the Tigers, 0-1-0 for the A's. So the A's just 1 hit and 3 total base runners. Manaea gave up 3 earned runs in 6 innings. Michael Fulmer is back out on the mound, and he has thrown 7 shutout innings, and he has been terrific. So for the Tigers, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, and there is Fulmer, the 23-year-old rookie. There, Lowe and Wilson are getting ready in the bullpen. The A's have just had no luck against Fulmer. He's had 88 pitches so far as he faces Alonso, Simeon, and Coughlin. And the first pitch is high. For the A's, Trigg starts to throw. That one drops in outside corner for a strike. Alonso has popped to 3rd and grounded to 2nd. And that is fair. Cabrera has it. Went right over the bag. Alonso was out, and that's 1 out here in the 8th. Make sure you join us tonight on A's Post Game Live for the A team. Vince, Ken, Ray, and myself, we're going to get together and have an unscripted roundtable discussion about tonight's game. It's only on A's Post Game Live and 95.7 The Game after the game. It's all right there on that card, Ray. Gives you all the information.
Yeah. How about for the A team? Does that give us information?
No, it's unscripted.
Oh, okay.
So that, unscripted, you just do what you got to do. And with Vince Cotroneo, driving the big bus, the 18 bus, unscripted really feels like scripted because he's very good.
Well, in that picture shown from center field, you can also see the great Jim Price to our right. The only bad part about facing the Tigers.
What inning is it? It took you 8 innings to mention Jim Price tonight. That is.
Well, no, because we're not in Detroit and there's no coconut cream pie.
That's true. You usually get Price in there by the 2nd inning. You get Price in there before we do lineups.
Well, that's usually when he brings pie, But like I said, we're here, not there.
I think you guys got something going.
No, it's just that.
There's Jim.
Dan Dickerson on the radio side, but when we're in Detroit, Jimmy brings us nice coconut cream pie, and he has a chocolate cream pie. He provides that kind of dessert.
Hospitality.
Yeah. I feel badly because we don't have any pie to bring in here.
Simeon swings and misses, and Fulmer rolls along. That's his 3rd strikeout.
The backup slider got in on the hands of Marcus's last at bat and grounded weakly to 3rd base. And back-to-back at bats for Marcus to have that kind of a swing. Maybe looking outside, the ball floats inside, and thinking he's got to try to make contact to stay alive.
So Coughlin steps in. 96 pitches now for Fulmer. There's a drive toward right center, and that'll get down for a hit. Maven picks it up, fires it back in, and a 2-out single for Coughlin. So he's been on base twice with a single and a walk.
That's got to feel great. He didn't waste any time either. Pull the fastball into right center. And running hard to first base. Gene Lamont saying, are they ready? Yeah, I've been ready for 2 innings, but you haven't called back, so now I am. Gene's usually on the phone as a bench coach, but he's the manager tonight.
And those 2 guys, indeed, they've been down there for a while. Here's Crisp. There's a strike. There's that changeup. Comes in around 84, 85, 86 miles an hour.
That just floats in. The high strike called by Joe West.
Crisp has popped out, grounded out, and flied out. One foul, and now it's 0-2. The Pirates beat the Rangers tonight 9-1 interleague game in Arlington. Nice over Hamels. Cole Hamels loses for the first time.
He's had him on the rope here, but let him off the hook. Although they did win in walk-off fashion. So it's Yu Darvish tomorrow night, right? Yep. Saturday. It's his debut. This he's still scheduled to pitch.
Yep, he's going to pitch. The only home run, or the only run in that game for the Rangers, was Beltre's 8th home run of the year. Coco hits one high and foul. Yankees beat the Rays 4-1. Tanaka over Archer. Alex Rodriguez hit career home run number 693.
Hit one in the minor leagues too in his rehab.
Yeah, does that count? So he's got 6 this year, so he is closing in on 700. The Yankees trying to get back to the 500 mark. 0-2 to Coco Crisp. Shoots that one foul again. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 7-5 in Toronto.
Did he? Did he get it? A hit? Bradley?
No, I think that stopped.
You stopped tonight? It ended last night?
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Donaldson hit a couple of home runs. He's got 13 now on the year. He also had 5 RBIs. Fastball inside.
So I wonder if Bradley faced as many pitchers in 30 games as Joe DiMaggio did in 56.
Probably more.
Oh, it's so hard to think about that. Gosh. 56 games. And I'm sure the Boston media they weren't on him every game.
No.
Just let him do his thing.
Coco rips one to right field. Martinez back, and he's not going to get it. And it bounces over the wall. Man, so that probably cost the A's a run.
Oh, you know it did, but Coco, as Gene Lamont's going to make the move with Billy Burns coming up. But Coco, the top spin, and missed location by Fulmer. And Coco hit it too hard, so hard that once it hit the warning track over Martinez, but there to hit hard. Didn't get close enough to the wall to hit short hop the wall, instead over the wall for a ground rule double.
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
Authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
So a pretty good performance by Michael Fulmer. 7 2/3 innings, 3 hits, and no runs, but the A's have second and third, 2 outs, and Billy Butler is going to hit for Burns. And he's going to face the lefty Justin Wilson. And the first pitch is a bit inside.
And on April the 25th, he pinched hit in the 9th inning. Get a double off the right center field wall. He hits the same ball tonight. It's a 3-run home run because of Comerica Park. But Wilson 1-1. As he has a good fastball, mid-90s. He'll throw a cutter, curveball, and slider along with the 4-seam and 2-seam fastball.
Tried inside again, and it's 2-0.
You know, the way Butler in his heyday in Kansas City is Stephen Vogt, lefty weights. But Butler hit the ball hard to right center. Looks like they did not want to pitch him away to allow him to go that direction. Both fastballs inside.
Butler takes the strike, so now it's 2-1 with Coughlin at third and Crisp at second.
Another one this time catching the plate, but 3 fastballs inside location.
Broken bat, and now it's 2-2. So you see Wilson's that cut fastball just keeps running in on the hands of the right.
Exactly. Butler could have some magic and hit the home run to tie. Butler would be the hero, and Matson would pitch the ninth. Otherwise, Triggs is getting loose.
2-2 pitch, and Butler chased a pitch that was well out of the strike zone side. Retired. So the A's strand a pair, and Fulmer's happy, and the A's are not. 3-0 Tigers as we go to the ninth.
Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
So ninth inning, Tigers 3, A's nothing, and Andrew Triggs is the fourth pitcher of the night for the A's. Minaya, Dole, Rodriguez, and now Triggs. First pitch to McCann is outside. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. So ninth appearance for Triggs. 13 innings pitched. He's got 12 strikeouts. A funky delivery. Really throws across his body. Jake Smolinski comes into the game in left field. Crisp moves over to center. Burns is out. I think if you wanted the definition of throwing across your body, Triggs would sit in that category.
K-Rod to the right, the right-hander. He would pitch the ninth with a save on the line. But the crossfire is there.
Well, I mean where we're sitting, Ray, look at the marks where the pitchers land.
Yeah.
And then look where Triggs's foot is.
Yeah. That's that slight little right there, that indentation there. These are the other guys there. But considering he lines up on the third base side and then throws towards the third base dugout, that's across your body. But that's a different look.
Coco hustling back near the wall, and he makes the catch.
Follow Athletics Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment, with game day live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball, on your phone and your tablet. Triggs made his debut against the Tigers at Comerica Park. I still think that's why he walked to the Orioles dugout, because that's where the A's dugout was at first base. So if he walks to the Tigers dugout tonight, we're in trouble, or he's in trouble.
I don't think he'll.
I think he's done that. You know, he did it intentionally in Baltimore just to get a little bit of a laugh. You know, strike out the side, check where he lands. That's his spot right there. He doesn't have to worry about landing in the hole of another pitcher. He's got
about a foot away from the spot where everybody else lands. Simeon throws low. Alonso, no problem. 2-1.
You know, if you look at Yonder Alonso, he's going to want to Gold Glove. I mean, if you look at pure defense, and I think now with the sabermetrics and all that, they don't really factor in offense as much as they did, say, when Rafael Palmeiro DH'd the majority of the time and won the Gold Glove. But if you look at his pure defense, I can't think of a better defensive player, first baseman, in the American League. I mean, he's so calm, scooping the balls and catching them in foul territory.
And that's going to drop for hit. Little cue shot for Kinsler. So Kinsler has a single, a double, and a triple, and he's also reached on a fielder's choice.
He's hit number 300 into the game, and that increases that with the ball off the end of the bat, made up maybe for the line drive that Billy Burns caught in center field to start the game.
Martinez.
So 10 hits now. I'm just thinking more about your Gold Glove comment, and I don't completely disagree with you. That's fair. Into the corner. Kinsler with 2 outs, moving on it. The ball rolls away from Coughlin, and Kinsler will score easily. And Martinez to third, so it's 4-0.
Man, is that a carbon copy of what happened when the Tigers scored their 2 in the 4th inning? Same ball. Maben, though, hit that one, and something happened to Coughlin.
He slipped right when he got to the dirt.
And as he went to the dirt, tried to stop as the ball carried him off the wall, and then there just and reached back, left his glove on the ground, went after the baseball. But Upton with a 2-out single, and Maben with a double down the right field line in the 4th inning. And boy, we're seeing it again this inning.
So Martinez gets his 26th RBI. And the Tigers pick up an insurance run. Cabrera, fly ball to center, ground out, and a couple of walks. The guy who's the problem for Alonso, Ray, in the Gold Glove chat is Hosmer.
Yeah, Hosmer's good. Yeah, you're right.
Because he's already won it.
Yeah,
and he's playing on a good team.
But the one thing in the, well, I'd say in the past, it was voted on by managers, coaches, and a lot of time is who's having the best year offensively.
Sure. Yep.
Better hurry.
The throw is in time. Side retired. A run on 2 hits for the Tigers. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Last shot for the A's, trailing 4-0.
It's on the player of the game, and if there's ever a problem facing a pitcher for the first time, the A's seem to have a problem, and tonight they had another problem because Michael Fulmer did a great job pitching for the Tigers for the first time against the Athletics. Used his fastball, had a slider, changeup, used all the pitches, and walked in one batter, and that was it. So without a save situation on the line, Francisco Rodriguez, who was loosening the bullpen, he is their save as he has 14 for 15 opportunities. So he stays in the game, or actually comes in the game, even though it is not a save situation. But sometimes when the pitcher is loosening up and he's ready to go, say, hey, let's stay. And had an off day yesterday. And see if he can give it up.
Stephen Vogt doesn't wait around. Yep. First pitch swinging, and he lines one for a hit. So Vogt is 1 for 4.
Stephen Vogt had to be happy that Justin Wilson was out of the game. Got a first pitch fastball from K-Rod, who is not as overpowering as he once was with the Angels. Still relies on a lot of the curveballs that dirt. He gets swing and misses.
That's Andrew Romine, who is not a left-handed third baseman. Although he holds the glove like that, it's going to make you think so. Yeah, now he's got the glove in the right hand. Don't do that to us, Andrew Romine. So here's Valencia. A couple of ground outs to short and a strikeout. First pitch is a strike. And Justin Wilson just gets the 1 out, but it was a big one. Strikes out Butler. And at that time, Butler was the tying run. Valencia hits a high pop fly down the right field line. Foul territory. This was on Tuesday, a milestone for Francisco Rodriguez. His 400th career save. So he's really had a heck of a career. He's still only 34 years old. But he got to the big leagues at a very, very young age. Blocked nicely.
He got 62 in a season. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was 20 when he got to the big leagues in that season where the Angels won the World Series.
A good block by McCann. Yeah, he came up here. He came up in the last month.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he pitched in 5 games in 2002, but there was some loophole which allowed him to be on the.
He was on the roster. Of course, if you have guys on the disabled list, you can fill in for them, and that's what it was.
Romine waits, fires to second for 1, back to first, not in time. Good turn by Kinsley. Well, Valencia aboard on a fielder's choice. Vogt is retired.
Now batting second baseman, number 8.
So now Lowry will hit against Rodriguez. Just looking at his career, Rodriguez, 7 years with the Angels and 3 in New York. And things didn't always go so well for him in New York, which is he's not the Lone Ranger there. But then he went to Milwaukee and did pretty well. Brewers traded him to Baltimore, and then the next year he went back to Milwaukee. And the Brewers traded him to the Tigers past offseason. Lowry taps one, just foul. Yeah, that year he had 62 saves was 2008, and that was his last year with the Angels. So he saved 62 and then became a free agent.
Right.
Signed with the Mets.
Like Bob Welch, late Bob Welch winning 27. I think Egg saved probably 24, 25 of them, but that's a remarkable season to save 62. And you think if you win 100 games, that's great, but you know, you got one guy saving 62 of them.
Valencia thinking about going, and he will. So Valencia will get to second. So the A's just trying to get on the board. 1-1 the count here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Tigers trying to get up over the 500 mark. They're sitting at 23-23. One pitch is blocked by McCann. Tigers bullpen last year was not good.
Yeah, and that's the reason they're happy to get this guy to fill in. Joe Nathan ended up having some surgery and missed some time, a lot of time, I guess. Tommy John. What happens to those former catchers? They become pitchers. Or I guess he's maybe a shortstop.
That one hit to right and hit well. Martinez back near the wall, and it is off the top of the wall. Valencia will score easily. Lowry headed for third, and the A's are on the board. It's 4-1.
I guess Martinez thought he had a chance to catch it. A change up. Of course, Jed Lowry had to provide his own power. Still looking for his first home run, and thought he may have gotten one. And Valencia scoring easily from second base. This ball, though, again, Martinez otherwise would have played it off the carom, but no chance to catch it, and really allowed Jed Lowry, unless he could jump as high as Josh Reddick's shot was up on the wall. I mean, that was almost a home run anyway. Jed Lowry with the triple was first since September of 14. And boy, how big is that run last inning, and how big is the run in the top of this inning? Also, that the Tigers scored. The A's were deprived of a run on Coco's double that was a ground rule. And that would have been one run. This one, who knows what could have happened, but he's trying to do something special in this ninth inning.
For Lowry, that was his 18th RBI. 1-0 pitch, and now 2-0.
Can't remember, was it last year, a year before, when Fernando Rodney came in a non-save situation? Nice pick by the catcher McCann. But he was visibly upset coming in out of the bullpen and coughed it up. Actually blew the save by allowing what at the time was a non-save situation. But the A's scored, I think it was 4 to tie it. They ended up losing in extra innings. But sometimes a closer comes in a non-save situation. There's a changeup again, way out in front.
Yeah, I guess sometimes just the tightness of the game.
Yeah. But
this is, this is 4-0.
Exactly.
This is still the score is close enough where the fact that it's not a save situation should not bother him.
We've talked about how difficult it is for a reliever when he comes in and gives up a run or multiple runs to get the ERA down. Well, in this case, with the indifference, the runner goes to second base. So now he's got to be concerned about giving up a hit, which he did ultimately. And now another runner at third with the infield back. He could give up at least 2, and A's are hopeful of making it even more of an interesting ninth inning.
3-1 pitch, a 3-1 changeup. How about that? 82 miles an hour.
And that's his pitch. He's gone from trying to swing at the curveballs, but with a runner at third base, he doesn't want to take a chance of bouncing the curve, so he goes to the changeup, which has turned out to be a great pitch for him.
And that was a strike either way.
Exactly.
And he threw it again, and he struck him out. How about that?
Yeah. You talk about a closer changing philosophy. Well, Francisco Rodriguez has done that.
Now batting first baseman, number 17.
So when he pitched for the Angels and he had a runner at third base, I don't ever remember seeing him throw a curveball because he threw it so violently and bounced it. There was concern about it bouncing and a run scoring. And so hitters could look fastball. He didn't have the changeup then that he has now. So he knows his fastball is not thrown hard enough, so he's going to more of a changeup.
In the dirt, blocked by McCann. So this is Yonder Alonso, who is 0 for 3. A's need one more base runner, and That would get the tying run to the plate. And Simeon is your on-deck hitter. Grounded slowly toward Iglesias, the shortstop. He's got it on to first, and that's the ball game. So the Tigers take game 1 of the series behind Michael Fulmer. The rookie gets his 4th win of the year, and the struggles continue for the Athletics. They have now lost 7 out of their last 8 games, and their record falls to 20-29. 2 hours and 40 minutes was time of game. Attendance 22,498. Final score tonight from the Coliseum. The Tigers 4 and the Athletics 1. You've been watching A's Baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's Post Game Live with Mindy Bach and Pip Roberts starts right after this break.